was a scattering of nacho cheese combos.
It's fake cheese, which is why I can eat it.
Congratulations.
Damn, nacho cheese! It doesn't taste like nacho cheese anymore.
Brad, everything is crunchy.
It hurts my dentures.
Oh, yes.
Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 14.
Hands up, he did it right.
I'm Eric VC, and as always, I'm joined by my favorite Mona and Lisa, Adam and Dave. Say hello, Adam.
Dave is the Mona.
I'm the Mona.
He's
Is that like the
Mona.
road? I'm like the Rhoda.
I guess.
I'm the Mona.
Right.
I'm not Mary. I'm Rhoda.
And Adam, our Lisa.
I'm lost.
That's not Lisa.
I'm a lost.
He's at least a lost.
At least he's a
I don't know what
loster.
that means, but I'm saying it.
I'm a confused.
Together, we are the VC Boys, and for this episode, we covered chapters 13 through 18 of A Crown of Swords, where we made some new friends.
And enemies.
We'll start our chapter summary in View from Dragonmount, followed by a conversation about our favorite moment of these 6 chapters and what shook your Willow. We'll then discuss this crazy city we've spent some time in Ebou Daring. We'll move on to talking through one of our White Cloak dark friends with Carradin My Wayward Son before figuring out this new Aes Sedai in Cads Once Upon a Time. We'll wrap up,
Cads
as
not
always,
gonna
with
do it
our
again.
Coplin of the Week and Who Leveled Up.
Is
We'll
that like
wrap up
cod
as always.
piece once upon a time?
We'll wrap up as always with
love
our
that.
Coplin of the Week and Who Leveled Up.
Who leveled up? Not yet.
So let's launch into the chapter summaries with View from Dragonmount. Chapter 13.
How's everyone's boots?
Ready for
Have
walking.
you been maintaining your boots?
You know what they're ready for?
Mine
They're
are at
ready
the
for me to
cobbler.
carry on.
Right now? Why?
Carradin
why,
on.
Why do you want to
So
have a
what are you gonna do
conversation about
going up
boots?
The Dragonmount.
Because we're climbing up Dragonmount. We need to
Yeah,
have our
we're
boots
climbing up.
ready.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know
Yeah.
these boots are
Jeez.
made for walking.
Eric's
And that's
got
what they're
no
going to do.
boots.
Yeah, they're being repaired.
They're
at the
being
moment.
cobbled, Adam. They're being
Yes, it's
cobbled.
Too bad.
They're being
That's
cobbled
too bad.
together.
Yeah.
Well, Dave,
Yeah. Well, Adam.
Mona,
Lisa.
shall we go?
Yes.
Chapter 13, The Bowl of Winds, with the seagulls glyph, which I'm assuming is the glyph for the Tuatha
No, not them.
Mier.
Not
Or
them.
the Atha Mier.
There we
Right,
go.
Yes, there we go.
Can either of you
Which
do
I'm
a good
guessing is
seagull
the
noise?
glyph of the Atha
Do a good what noise?
Seagull noise.
No.
No.
Me either.
I can do
wish
nothing
I
high
could.
pitched. Eric owns everything high
I'm
pitched,
not
but
going
I
to.
can't.
That's
I'm not
true.
going
I
to
feel
give
like
that
you
an
can.
attempt.
Yeah.
It's the day after the meeting
Boo.
of Egwene, and the 4 bowl searchers are visiting the sea folk ship in the harbor of Ebou Dar.
The 4 poles.
Avienda thinks that she should get used to her silk dress and the wetlands way if she is to marry one of them.
You know what's interesting with
Which
Avienda? I
thought
feel
was
like
interesting.
every time we get something from her narration, I like her a lot. And every time we get her narrated by somebody else, you don't like her.
And the point of view is at her as opposed to from her.
Yeah, like Rand's all like, well, I don't know about Avienda, and Avienda's all snippety in the conversations with Rand, but when you get Avienda's conversations, they're awesome. She's like, I wonder who I'm going to kill first. That would be a mistake.
This thought process of adapting Westlanders' ways because she's going to marry one of them is, I think, the first time we've had a suggestion of her marrying Rand, which is, I'm assuming, who
Yeah.
we're thinking about here. So
Yeah, I don't think it's Perrin.
Jordan just
It
kind of
seemed-
sneaks
it
that
seemed
one
to
in
just,
there.
like,
Just
tuck into it.
sneaks it in.
Right, just, oh, by
Just
the by.
sneak it in.
It's like dipping your toe into the bath
Right.
Just
Or the pool.
Sneak it in.
or the pool.
Sneak it.
Sneaky.
Nynaeve and Elaine have taught Avienda the trick of not sweating.
When has Avienda sweat though?
That's
I mean,
true. Why would Avienda be
was-
sweating it? Well, remember, it's
Was it that
it's
one
she
time?
shit's
though,
hot
you
here.
know?
It's
You know what I mean?
swelteringly hot now
In
in
the
the
snow.
Westlands.
Well, I think what she's sweating from is nerves from being on all that
Right.
water.
Yes, that's precisely
yes,
what
yeah,
she
yeah.
is.
True,
what she's
true.
concerned about here is she's 3 miles off land.
But that's still
Or,
a pretty,
I mean-
that's a big thing to learn. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, she can't. She
Oh,
can barely see the
absolutely.
land from where she is.
I love it.
On the way back, they decide it would.
Hey, you know where they are?
On the way
They're
out
on the
there,
waterfront.
they decide it would help their search if they had Matt with them due to his Taveran nature.
Doo-doo?
And Elaine decides Brigitte will help him. Will tell him he's needed in order
Hats off to Brigitte there, though.
How do you think that conversation would go with Matt?
Not
Snide.
Well, who knows? If Matt spends too much time with her, he's going to.
I mean, actually, Brigitte
to
is
figure out who she is.
Right. No, I meant the whole bringing Matt in
Right.
for help conversation.
Brigitte is probably going to actually present it to Matt in a much better way than any of the other women would. So there's that.
Very good point.
Elaine seems to think
she's the
that
only one that recognizes who he actually is.
But Matt yet doesn't recognize her, which is great.
Yeah.
Even though he was like probably 2 feet away from her.
I hope it continues
right,
for 3 more books.
Elaine seems to think that Matt needs to be controlled. She says, we should not have been letting him run loose all this time. No matter how busy we are, that's done no one any good, him least of all. He needs to be made fit for decent company. We'll have to put him in a short rein from the start.
This is further perpetuating Matt's view of Elaine as being like snippety. This is not helping things out.
I'm just so sick of. Well, I mean, we have to deal with it. But this whole like man-woman relationship thing. Ugh.
The He-Man woman hater.
When any of these people are away from the other ones, everyone believes that they're the only ones who can train that individual into being decent around anybody else. It's just an endless cycle of this.
I mean, nothing for nothing though. Is she wrong about Matt? Not really.
I don't know, Matt. First of all, Matt probably isn't interested in hanging around the types of people that he would need to be different around anyway.
Well, he seems to find himself around them anyhow, though.
And he seems to be more than well liked amongst the people that he does hang out with.
Well, right. He
With
hangs
the
around
exception of
ruffians
these
and
women.
scalawags, so that's not saying much.
What do you mean?
No, he hangs around soldiers.
Right, ruffians and scalawags.
Well, he also hangs around. He also hangs around royals.
Don't forget he hangs around Dobrain.
Loped and Darab.
So they finally board the Windrunner and speak with Malin Din Toral Breaking Wave.
There's that
a
name.
nice short name.
Right. Easy to pronounce.
Who
rolls
takes them
off the
to
tongue.
Nesta Din Red Two Moons, mistress of the ships of the sea folk.
This is not
I like how
two
Eric
small
is saying
people.
Folk.
They
Folk.
meet
It's
Nesta
like
Din
yolk.
Reed Two
Folk.
Moons, Doril,
Please, you say
blah, blah,
buttons.
blah, blah, and Dorilla Din Aaron Longfeather.
Yes, you do.
And Barak informs them that they are seeking what we learn
That's
from the
too bad.
Windfinder is called the Bowl of Winds.
Obama?
Love it.
They ask for assistance from the sea folk to get the Bowl of Winds.
And we find out, yes, that's the name.
Yes, and we finally get the name. And we also get some mention of the Jendai prophecy, which... Have we had a lot of mentions of the Jendai prophecy to this point?
So that's the sea folk prophecy?
Yes.
No,
They
I don't
say we've
think
come for
so.
two reasons. The lesser is to ask how you mean to aid the Dragon Reborn, who, according to the Jendai prophecy, you call the Koramor. The greater is to request help of this vessel's windfinder, whose name I regret I do not yet know.
So do they have to do like some research on the Jendai prophecy to realize this when they went into this conversation, or did they just somehow know it?
I think there's been a lot of talk of the Koramor
Brigitte
in prior chapters.
Yeah. What is that? What's that, Lisa?
Brigitte,
Brigitte,
she spoke.
Yeah, she
They
did.
knew
She
that
spoke
she was
something
old.
up, right?
Did that happen at that point yet?
You mean in our...
In regard to the Jendai prophecy?
No, he's saying in their
Well-
conversation with the sea folk, has Brigitte spoken up yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
The mentions that we've had of the Jendai prophecy are from The Great Hunt, chapter 4. The few sea folk Aes Sedai will only
Apparently,
say that
Eric
the
has done his research.
Koramor is coming.
Good.
The Shadow Rising, chapter 19, there's a mention that he can wield the one power. He holds the sword that cannot be touched. The Aiel have come over the dragon wall to his call. The Stone of Tyr has fallen, and war breaks over the nations of the land. Those who once ruled have returned and been driven back for the first time. And then in the Shadow Rising, chapter 19, there's a mention of the White Tower shall be broken by his name, and Aes Sedai shall kneel to wash his feet and dry them with their hair. All prophecies that are from the Jendai prophecy. So it's been mentioned a couple of times,
He's just doing those things.
but not in great.
I think Eric
detail.
just pulled that all out of his memory. What do you think, Lisa?
I think that I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think
Look
maybe
at him.
he
He's
did
not
some
even
research.
reading anything. You can't see his face. He was just he was looking at the ceiling.
He's like, I'm going to ponder this.
Nesta Din Reyes then asks Barak to summon the Wave Mistress and Wave Finders into the port, asking...
Like the other ones out at sea?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Asking them along with the first 12 to
And
get
make it
there
snappy.
as fast as they can arrive. I think we're just to assume that the first 12 are some very important people amongst the sea folk.
I
And
bet they have sweet tattoos.
the bargaining for the assistance for the
I have
Bowl of
both.
Winds begins, with our heroes seeming to be out of their depth.
Hey, nice sea pun there.
Yeah. Which takes us to chapter 14, White Plumes with the dice glyph. Matt and Alessian are at the Silver Circuit horse racing ring in Ebou Daring, waiting to watch Oliver jockey Wind. Matt's
Now,
horse.
did we? I feel like we got slight mention before this of over racing horses,
Yes.
but just very small, right?
Yeah. It wasn't. There was a suggestion that he had been hanging around horse racing.
Because now all of a sudden here we are.
Right, here we are.
This is another one of these instances where I was like, did I miss a
He's
chapter again?
now a jockey.
Have I been on
Matt
random?
is still kind
and I
of
missed-
concerned, like, oh, you shouldn't be hanging out with these people.
Well, he is
It's
short and
like,
ugly.
Okay, dude.
And that's all you can say for Oliver. He's short and ugly and
He
personable.
has big ears and a big mouth.
Right. You know, what else is he going to do with this time?
Yeah, he's got a big old personality. He's
Yeah.
brave. He's brave.
He's
Brazen.
very
Apparently,
small.
he's one of the. He's one
He's
of
quite
the
the
larger
jockey.
jockeys.
Right.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also,
Well, have you ever seen a
Matt-
jockey? I mean, you know,
Matt knows a good horse.
and Matt does know a good horse thanks to his papa.
Julin approaches
What's his
them and
papa's
informs Matt that
Abel Coffin. I've got the answer. Don't you
know
worry
what?
about this.
It is a great question. 'cause
Lisa
Dave
had a
it
question.
locked
I
and loaded.
answered it.
Julin approaches them and informs Matt that again he has not seen the 4 bull searchers leave the palace, though he knows they have. He seems to have disclosed that the searchers had hired a carriage and taken it to a boat, which Tom followed into to another boat.
How do you think they're going to react when they find out the whole time they were just changing their appearance? What do you think's going to happen there?
Well, I mean, I think that they know that they're deliberately avoiding being followed.
Right,
by
I know, but
these
they're just going to
men,
be like,
so-
that's it? You changed your appearance? There was no secret tunnel? Like,
I mean, I think they're going to just be slightly more annoyed than the already incredibly annoyed that they are.
Yeah.
They've been
Hey,
in
can I just-
Ebou
can
for
I
a
have
month
a-
apparently.
Can I just say 4 bull searchers sounds like a Tribe Called Quest song?
it should be.
That's pretty
If it
great.
wasn't, it should be.
Keep it going.
4 bull searchers. Or
Matt,
like a,
Matt identifies a
Rage Against the Machine
sharp-faced
song.
woman who he eventually recalls is the woman who tried to kill him and Rand
Eventually,
while Rand was sick in a stable just outside Camelin.
no, I thought that was great. I thought that was great
I loved
exposition
it.
there, like how he was just because his memory's spotty, so he's just grabbing
loved
bits and
it.
pieces here and there, and all of a sudden, whammo, it hits him. I thought
Yep.
that was awesome, but at the same time, I was also like, "Come on, Matt, we know this. Why don't you get there?"
Oh, you were eating your peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, that sounds delicious. No.
Isn't that like never-ending
Yes,
story?
that's a never-ending story reference.
Hmm.
But it wasn't a peanut butter sandwich. But yes,
The
Whatever.
race starts, and
It
Oliver
was
is a
salami.
natural jockey. Wind wins by 4 lengths. Matt finally identifies who the fox-faced woman is and follows her to what he discovers from an old weathered man is a palace let by Jacob Carradin.
is Foxface like not attractive, or is it just that kind of shape?
It's just a sharply faced,
All right.
I like a
chin
I like a
and nose
little
forward
fox-faced
type
person.
of face.
Do you like a pinkish
Hey,
hue?
are we talking about this old man at some point?
We're not there yet.
Yeah, he's
No,
in the
you
next
just said old
chapter.
man.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, he's in the next chapter.
I like
Chapter
a pinkish
You
hue.
just said old man.
Yes, he's
By the
at
sea.
the end of this chapter, and we learn who he is in the next chapter.
Yes, I don't even know that we needed to mention him just at this point
No,
yet.
well,
but-
he's,
I thought he
he's
said
at
old
the
man.
end of the
Pardon me.
chapter.
right, but yes,
Okay.
Adam, you jumped the shark.
I was incorrect. I did not hear that correct.
It's okay.
Chapter 15,
You're forgiven,
Insects
Lisa.
with the Serpent Glyph. Jacob Carradin has been working as a pseudo-saboteur in Altara and Murundi, creating the Chaos Padron Niall requested from him in advance of Niall swooping in with an army of white cloaks and rescuing the 2 nations. Niall has ordered him to kidnap Elaine, but he's more concerned about his dark friend orders to find the Angriel catch. Carradin talks to the lady Shiana, who he is assigned to quietly look for the Angreal. He sees Matt in the street below and has a flashback to what he saw as Bourse in the prologue of The Great Hunt. When he looks down again, Matt is gone.
A man called Boris.
This is the first confirmation, the first true confirmation we get, I think, that Carradin was Bourse.
Yeah.
There have been
maybe,
hints. There have been hints at it because remember when he gets visited by the merge roll, I think you put the dots together at that point, but this is a complete reference to that moment. So we nailed that. Samael then appears and we learn it is he that has commanded Carradin to find the Angreal. Carradin tells Samael he's just seen Matt, and Samael tells him to stick to searching for the Angreal. When Samael leaves, Carradin tells Millie Shiana that she... Skane?
Millie Skane.
There's no C in there.
It's
a
Millie
K.
Skane.
Millie Skane.
And Millie Skane.
Yeah, so when Samael leaves, Carradin tells Millie Skane that she and her circle are to stop the search for the Angreal and find Matt, whose name Millie recognizes
Wonder why.
from when he thwarted her attempt to kill Rand back in the Eye of the World.
I wonder what sort of poison was on her knife that caused the wood to burn.
I don't know. Maybe something very similar to the thing that poisoned the knife that Matt was carrying around at the time.
Oh, no, that's
seems
poison
very
with
similar.
insanity.
I don't like it.
Chapter 16, A Touch on the Cheek with the Flame of Tarvalon. Matt enters the Terrazin Palace to have an audience with the searchers. The dice are rolling frantically in his head. He's led for some time before he crosses paths with Jolene and Teslin Sedai, who attempt to waylay him before they're joined by Saratha, Marililla, and Van Deen Sedai.
They're really good at just talking.
Matt then finds himself the rope in an Aes Sedai tug of war, with the rebel and loyalist contingents each thinking that Matt should be under Aes Sedai care.
Matt the Rope.
Matt the
That's
Rogue.
great. Matt the Rope.
Laren, who has
like Mac the
disappeared
Knife,
at the
but slightly
emergence of the
different.
Aes Sedai, now reappears to inform Matt that he has been summoned to meet Queen Tylin. Tylin provides Matt with pen and paper, and he writes a note to the searchers about Carradin and the Dark Friend, and he also asks that they return to Egwene. Teslin is clearly interested in Matt romantically and flirts with him in her own way, which is not her own way. It's just a very obvious way.
Right.
Her son
is
Beslin
her own
enters, and she sets the two up to attend several of the upcoming festivities.
I don't like the relationship between
Festivities.
her and her son.
Yeah. Does it feel a little it feels a little
Roman.
Oedipal? Is that-
Yeah, it's a little Roman.
Chapter 17, The Triumph of Logic with the Dark Friend glyph. Matt leaves the Terrazin Palace in a hurry and makes it to the Wandering Woman, where he meets with Chell Vannon and a few others of the band. He tells them about Carradin and the Dark Friend and warns Vannon to be on his guard. Before separating, Harnan tells Matt of a fog that appeared in the Rahad the day before and it ate people. It's like a
And
Stephen
had
King novel.
strange creatures in it.
Right, yes, exactly.
What
Strange
is that?
insectoid creatures. No, yeah, it's a bubble of evil, which Matt thinks about after hearing this. As he leaves the common room, a serving girl tells him a man claiming to be an illuminator has stopped by looking for him. Upon reaching his room, Matt is attacked by two men, one who seemed Morundian and the other Andoran, and both were fairly well dressed. He kills both men and explains the situation to Narum, who has arrived just after the attack. The noise of the scuffle brings
Was
the
he
innkeeper.
attacked by two men, or was he almost attacked by three men? And then the other guy came in with the pan behind his back and was like, I'm not going to do this.
The noise of the scuffle brings the innkeeper and her husband, Satel and Jasper Anan. While explaining his attack to the proprietress, Matt discovers a note that has been secreted into one of his pockets that reads, Elaine and Nynaeve are pushing too far. Remind them they are still in danger from the tower. Warn them to be careful, or they will be kneeling to ask Elida's pardon yet.
On Earth.
He concludes
Very
it could have been
confused about
placed
that.
there by Teslin or Jolene, but then dismisses the idea. We then cut to Jolene and Tesla's apartments. Tesla's upset with Jolene because Jolene's suggestion to Matt that he go with them to the tower is not part of their plans. We learn from Teslin that Elida has said that Jolene has never grown up. Jolene mentions that Elida has sent them to Ebou Dar as part of a punishment power play.
Oh, nice alliteration.
I love that.
They're to serve as
true.
advisors to Tylan, who they both see as a powerless queen. Teslin suggests they bring Elaine, Avienda, Nynaeve, and Matt to Elida as a way to get back into her good graces. The two eventually determine to stay quiet about the young women, and Matt. We then cut to Phaleon and Ispan.
Who's that white that's her
Phaleon has just finished torturing a woman. This is like the second time in these books that we've cut in on somebody who's just wrapping up torture and
murdering
it's been a woman.
someone. Do we even know who that person is?
Good.
Nope.
Okay.
The two discuss the mission they have been given by Mogedion to find a catch of Angreal in Ebou Dar. So there's a bunch of people searching for catches of Angreal here in Ebou Dar.
Package.
Phaleon seems convinced there is no such catch. Phaleon also fears that Mogedion has forgotten about them.
She might be in captivity. Well, who knows? Who knows where we are time-wise in this story? So who knows what's happening with Mogedion right now?
I was going to say that. I didn't
But I
know
beat you to it.
It seems the woman Callie that Phaleon has tortured to death was a runaway, supporting the rebel statement that they were going to search for runaways in Ebou Dar.
A runaway from what?
From the tower.
Oh, okay. Which tower?
Number
She's
one.
not
The
a
big
recent-
one or the little one?
No. She's not a recent runaway.
Okay.
No,
She's,
the big one.
She's an older runaway that's been here for a while. So we keep getting hints that there are runaway Aes Sedai here in Ebou Dar. Phaleon suggests to Ispan that rather than searching for the catch, they bring Nynaeve and Elaine to Mogedion. We finally cut to what some old man sitting outside Phaleon and Ispan's house, and it seems the man is also aware of Skane and the Lady Skane, who he plans to visit later that night. Which takes us to our final chapter, chapter 18, As the Plow Breaks the Earth, with the dragon.
As the plow plows.
Speed the
Isn't
plow.
that like that's like the lead into like Days of Our Lives? As the plow breaks, so are the days of our lives.
If Days of Our Lives were even more depressing than it already is. As the plow breaks the earth.
I feel like we
so
watched that when we were
are-
like 10 and
it's
12 years old. For
As
like,
the plow breaks the
That would be
earth,
the
There's
beginning
nothing
of
on TV,
Days of
that's
Our
what you're
Lives if
watching.
Days of Our Lives were being filmed in the Middle Ages. as
that's about
the
right.
Just
plow
Oklahoma.
breaks the
Or
earth.
it's like Sarah Plain and Tall. It's Days of Our Lives, Sarah Plain and Tall.
Rand
That's
sits
about right.
in a meeting with a few Aiel clan leaders. He's being served by Marana. The Aes Sedai who have sworn fealty to him have been found rooms in the Sun Palace. Rand is trying to convince the clan chiefs that he is not under the control of Aes Sedai, because he's being served by one. The group are planning how to eliminate the Shido threat. It seems their wise ones will be dealt with by the Aiel wise ones. A few of the Aiel wonder if they will ever see the Threefold Land again, and Rand says he hopes they will, and then he thinks, as the plow breaks the earth, so shall he break the lives of men,
So
and
shall
all
the
that
times
was
turn,
shall
the
be
days of our lives
consumed in the
progress.
fire of his eyes. The trumpet of war shall sound at his footsteps, the ravens feed at his voice, and he shall wear a crown of swords.
That literally is the intro to Days of Our Lives. They just didn't know it.
Shortly after the intro to Days of Our Lives,
just feel like-
Barrelane storms in and demands to know why she's being sent back to Maine.
Oh, I love me some Bear Lane.
Don't send her away.
No.
I want her around.
I need her around.
Rand tells
Me
her
too.
the recent attack upon her by a cut purse and rumors that she had betrayed
Cut purse.
Colavir have him concerned for her safety.
He's just saying, I can't handle you.
You can't handle the truth.
I can't handle your good lookingness.
He says to himself, I like looking.
Right.
I've
He
grown accustomed to
literally
your
is like,
face.
and then
Right.
I've
what's his
grown
face is
accustomed.
noodling his ear.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, right. That's
Lou's there and is thumbing his ear like a
That's
looby.
an odd thing, especially
Yeah.
with what happens.
He's
later.
like a looby. Whenever they say
Barrelane
that.
mentions the sea folk and the
does that
importance
even
of their
mean,
support to
Luby?
Rand. Rand determines Barrelane is afraid to also lose Mayene and tells her tells her so, but is interrupted by a violent episode of those swirling colors in his vision.
I want to be around Berlane all the time.
Rialin then enters and announces the presence of Codswan Meledrin.
So who? Oh, that's the ice. Not the Aes Sedai. The Aiel.
Yes.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
The Aes Sedai swiftly enters the room, and all the other Aes Sedai defer to her immediately.
Am I supposed to know at this point that the reaction is necessary for her walking in the room?
No, we were all caught by surprise. We've had no mention of this woman ever before.
Okay, because that's how I felt.
And well, that's how they all felt. She walks in, and everyone was like,
and Nora gasps out that she thought she was dead.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. But I feel like the things like that have happened before, and it was someone that was talked about three chapters before that I forgot about.
Yes, I get that, but that is not this case. No.
Codswan takes over the room and tells Rand she knows more about his future than he does, listing out some horrifying things that happen to men who can channel. Dashiva sneers at Codswan and shows a brief moment of disrespect to Rand. He gives a raucous laugh when Codswan mentions that some men who can channel hear voices. Rand does not find this so funny.
I wonder why.
Idrian Tarzan then enters to tell Rand of a devastating event.
Do we think Dashiva is hearing voices also?
No, I don't. I just think that he found that to
Why would he find it funny? So I'm pondering this question. Do we think all the other people hear voices? All the other men that are starting to experience the taint seeping in?
I mean, no, because even Codswan suggests that not all men. She says some men who can do this.
Do we think some of the other male Aes Sedai are going through this?
I would imagine.
Okay.
So, Adam.
Yes.
What shook your willow?
Mine is the fact that Rand still has not gone to see the Wave Mistress, Hareen. I feel like it's been brought up many times that he has put this off.
So was it just her? I feel like he's been at several locations where there's been different Wave Mistresses that he's needed to see.
This has not been the same one.
I don't think it is.
No, it's not. There have been. He's been in a couple of different cities where
Carradin
the sea
and
folk have
Camelin.
been, and he has been putting off visiting them.
Right, I'm not in their. They're not in my prophecy, even though I'm in theirs, which maybe he doesn't know.
So he's been doing this multiple times.
Yes,
but the fact that Berlane brings it up, I think, is kind of a big deal.
I think you need to listen to Berlane.
Well,
yeah, it's clearly a big deal.
Yeah, it just keeps getting
especially
mentioned.
Since these people seem to respect leadership even less than the Aiel do.
Well, do you not think it's weird? So we've talked many books now about how Rand has always done his research. He's done his research on prophecies, prophesizing, blah, 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 blah. But he's never studied anybody else's prophecy? That's a little weird.
Well, clearly he'd studied the Aiel's prophecies.
Right, but not the sea folk?
Well, maybe their
the
prophecies
other big
are all
people
floating around on boats with them.
I mean, maybe, but no, they can't be because Elaine and Nynaeve know, and Avienda and Brigitte. He has clearly not done his normal research that he always seems to do to know that he's important in their prophecy.
Either that or he has, and he realizes that he can't meet the sea folk just yet because something terrible will happen once he does.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Oh, wow.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but that's possible, Pig.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Please.
That will be very easy to answer.
We're listening, Lisa.
Who were the girls that were on the ships with the sea folk before?
It was Nynaeve and Elaine.
Just those two.
It was Nynaeve.
Because they negotiated that other treaty.
Okay. All right.
Not treaty. They negotiated that other compact.
My willow for this week was Narum coming in after Rand had defeated the two thieves and hiding a frying pan behind his back.
I love Narum
I'm
so
not
much.
sure if he was going to use the frying pan on one of the thieves or on Matt.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was saying.
I didn't think about Matt. I just thought about because he loves Matt.
Right, but why is he hiding it?
Because he's like he's not coming in with a sword. He's coming with a frying
Well,
pan.
who would expect the man to? The man doesn't walk around with a sword.
I mean, there's probably plenty laying around. It's an armed soldiers camp.
No. They're
Dave,
they're in
I'm
an
just
inn.
Gonna say,
That's true.
I love this guy. But I also am just. This is a little suspicious.
It seemed really weird to me. Now, the other explanation could be that he was
Maybe he's
going
hanging
to
out in the
use it
kitchen.
on one of the thieves, and he was embarrassed that he was caught in a moment of aggression when he's supposed to be a docile servant, and he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed by that, and doesn't want Matt to know that he was about to enter the fray. That is
I'm
the
going
other
to postulate
explanation.
number
Learned a new
3
recipe.
that he's hanging out in the kitchens too much, eating their food, and he's coming with a frying pan.
Well, if he's hanging out in the kitchens too much, the man has an incredible metabolism because he is gaunt thin.
Well, you
That
know,
happens all the time. He forgot that the
Not
pan
when
was
you're
in
that
his
old. Old men do not have high metabolisms.
hey, our metabolisms aren't that bad, and we're not young.
Well, we're not old like
Well,
this dude.
How old do we think he
some-
is?
We
Do you
don't
think
live
he's
in the middle
70
ages
rolling around in
either.
the fields like, I'm going to sew up your coat,
That's
mister?
exactly, you pinned it down. That's exactly what I think. I think he's 70 rolling around in the fields.
I'm onto something, see? I know what's going on.
He
I know
doesn't.
what's
He
up.
don't worry about allergies.
No.
No.
He worries about blood on coats, Adam. That's what he worries about.
Dave, what shook your willow?
My willow was shook by the fact
It's
that
been shicked.
it has been shooked by the fact that in the
He's forgot.
Carradin chapters, Jordan, and he's done this a couple times before, but I feel like this was the greatest example of how he interjects like horror writing into his book of tricks, if you will. So the descriptions he's got that he gives, and this is another oddity, like wrapped up in all this, is the way that Samael is describing what has happened to Carradin's family gets really grisly and really real, really fast.
Oh yeah.
And not just that, but just like we've always thought of I personally have always thought of Samuel just as being this master tactician and soldier.
Samael Jackson.
Right, that guy with the eye patch. I've never really thought of him as being like so sadistic as he is, and it's giving me this viewpoint. And Jordan, I think, is intentionally interjecting something here to show us that no matter what preconceived notions we have about each of the Forsaken, like, you know, okay, so this one particularly tortures people. This one, like Samuel, is a battle man. This one, like Moghedien, is in the shadows. They are all at their root horribly evil people, and they will do horribly evil things. And in this case, like Samuel's talking about like what happened to his sister, and it like made my head spin. Like he's talking about her spitted on the stake, and like she's got the smile on her face, like it's just so evil. And then he goes on to talk about like what's gonna happen, what happened to that other person. Like there's nothing left, and he talks about it when it's thrown to the Trollocs. Like there's no humanity left in this person. It's at that point.
They made him beg to take off.
Right,
His own legs
take off
and
his own
arms.
limbs, and then like the tongue is saved for last. Like this is like Wes Craven
But
writing
there
going
wasn't
on.
Much left.
Right, it's purely.
Yep.
And Jordan doesn't do this often, but when he does it, like in this chapter, it hits you like a sledgehammer. At least it hit me that way, and that like creeped me out.
Yeah, it's great. It just puts that person. You understand kind of the situation that they're put in.
And I think when you just use that literary vehicle sparingly, but when you do it, you come in all guns blazing, like your Judas Priest going in all guns blazing, and that's like it's crazy.
All guns blazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, or not nice.
Speaking of
Like a nice
Carradin, let's
MLT.
move on to the city in which he finds himself with Ebou Daring.
Ebou Daring.
So we've been in
Ebou
this
Daring.
location now for a month. We've got several Forsaken having minions, dark friend minions, searching after a catch of Angreal. We have our female searchers searching after this Angreal. We have the sea folk here. We have Matt here, who now has run into the woman who tried to assassinate he and Rand. We have, as I mentioned, we have Carradin here. So there are a lot of different elements that are coming together in this weird city with weird traditions.
One night in Bangkok.
Yes.
This is the capital of Altara. It's on a peninsula. It has this section called the Rahad, which apparently smells like Venice covered in urine.
Yeah, it's just Venice.
It's just right. That's
It's just Venice.
or perhaps New Orleans or
New Orleans.
It's more like not New Orleans so specifically,
never
but like
been. I wish I had.
Louisiana.
Well, it would smell like pee in the French Quarter, so.
They have a guild for just about everything.
Well, yeah.
Except innkeepers. There was no guild for the innkeepers in Ebou
The
Daring,
guild
but
is
every
called
inn in the city was in
women.
the hands of a woman. And
We'd like to thank you, Mr.
any inn that wasn't had a run of bad luck. And it's men who captain all of the ships. We've got this weird marriage knife tradition. It's to stab their husbands with if they get out of line.
And apparently they do.
Right. And then you have the men who walk around in vests and no shirts, like some sort of weird Peter Pan gang of pirates. And they get into knife fights all the time.
Knife fights. The Jets and the Sharks.
Without the musicality.
Right. Which is disappointing.
What other odd things have we experienced here in
The
in
Rahad.
Dar? Right. Which is just a whole section of the city which
It's a slum.
the police basically ignore.
Right. Yeah, so it's like Cabrini Green when it existed.
Well, that's I mean, essentially, that's
it's
where
a
I
slum.
used to live right by there. No, it's just Cicero. Yeah.
Cicero.
Then you've got a justice system where apparently Matt can kill two men and they just be taken at his word that it was all in self-defense.
It's in a hotel.
Well, not to mention that the other little youngin that comes in from what was the lady's name that's hitting on Matt? The
maid.
The queen, Tylan?
The queen, yeah. Tylan.
Apparently everyone hits
her
on
son
Matt.
is just out there killing people. And she's like,
Beslin.
Yes. And that's another thing is these
Beslin, my
female
pet.
aristocrats are all expected to have the Italian version of Gumars. So they
Wow. We're getting mafia here. Here we go.
and it's incredibly hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
And
Well,
really humid. Really
Yep.
humid.
it's like
which
ATL.
doesn't make sense.
Or
No, it totally
Miami.
makes sense. They're on a southern coast.
They're on a coast.
No. With the fog, apparently it didn't make sense why it would be how it was.
Well,
What,
yes,
John
it
Carpenter's there?
appeared as an isolated cloud in the middle of a packed
I was wondering
city
if anyone was going to get that.
that started
I love that
eating
movie.
people. Of course it didn't seem natural. This is just a crazy city where anything can happen.
Anything goes.
We finally gotten the name of the Angreal that these women are searching after in this city. So we now know it's called the Bowl of Winds, and apparently it's part of the Sea Folk tradition. It's a
How did
known
everyone
Angreal.
find out that it was there? I know how the girls did, but how did everyone else?
Who's
find out
everyone
it was
else?
there?
The two
Well,
other Forsaken who know that there's something here and have sent their dark
so
ones
Samael
after it.
Mokedian.
Yeah.
Maybe they know what need is in the world of dreams also.
Well,
Mokedian, that would not surprise me. Samael,
That's
that would
true.
surprise me.
I think it probably has more to do with the fact of where this was located during the Age of Legends and after the breaking of the
So
world.
you think it
they
was there the whole
probably-
time and didn't move?
Yeah, I think it's probably been here for some 2,000 or 3,000 years.
I'm going with Nita Mokedian's standpoint because she's the dream walker.
That doesn't explain Samael's
No, it doesn't
understanding
explain
of it.
Samael at all. Unless Samael is spying a Mokedian, which wouldn't surprise me either because that's what the Forsaken seem to do.
They do spy.
They do spy.
They're looky-loos.
But for all their spying, no one knows exactly where it is except for Elena and Naive, but they don't know where that is.
They don't know where
also
it is.
make
Well, they
either.
know
mistakes
where it is.
often.
They don't
They
know
know
how to
it's
get
in
to where
Ebou Dar.
it is. They know it's in a warehouse in Ebou Dar.
Right, they know it. But
On a
the
top
funny
floor.
thing, but remember, all they know is that did they know it's in a catch of Angreal, or did they think it was all by themselves?
No, they
You're
know
really
it's at the
annoying,
end
Dave.
of a floor past a whole bunch of boxes located at the end of this floor.
But I think it was in
And
a
there might be
chest.
other there
it
might
was
it
in a
was,
chest.
but there might be other
and there were other shelves.
other Angreal or
but
Sangreal or
we
something
can't-
around
There
them.
might be more floors
Right.
also.
Remember, they ran into that the first time where they were trying to find it in a storeroom, and there were so many artifacts in the storeroom that they used Need again to try to
Right,
find it
but
again.
that original
Yeah.
one was in the White Tower.
Right.
Then they jumped to I really, really need this. You know. My need is really,
No.
really real.
You don't get it. I need it, man.
And I wonder, then why is this catch here? Was this city more important at some point in the past? So let's move on to Carradin, My Wayward Son. We confirm that Carradin is Bourse and that he's been approached by a Murdral, and the Murdral was following Ishamael, I believe, and had him chasing after Matt. And now he has Samael, who has him chasing after this catch. Then he's also following the orders of Pedro and Niall, who knows, is this before Niall is dead or not? We have no idea. We have no idea if the word just hasn't gotten to Carradin yet, or if this is before that happens.
So do we think this Murdral might be Shaidar Haran?
I couldn't remember whether or not the Murdral that approached him was Shaidar Haran. I don't think it was. I think it was before the emergence of Haran.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I don't think he was. But I know he was scary.
But he's out there.
But interestingly, out of all of that, he has decided to follow...
Not Jesus.
He has decided to follow the directions of Ishamael and search after Matt. Isn't Ishamael dead?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
well, depending where we are in this story right now, yes.
So... he's deciding to follow the orders of a dead man over the orders of a man who just appeared in front of him and made some horrific threats.
Well, but I get that, but do you not think that Matt is probably one of the greatest, most important things? Because he's one of the three Taviran that could change the course of everything.
Yeah, but he's following the orders of a dead man.
But does he know he's dead?
He's been dead for several books. I suppose.
But does he know he's dead?
No, because he's not getting communication.
No,
he's dead.
And not only that, he's drunk half the time. So
the other thing too,
he was really thirsty for that for that bowl.
It's a fascinating.
I will respect the fact that he's not drinking here, though. He's fighting off that urge pretty strong.
Well, yeah, but the fact that he's fighting means he's an alcoholic.
I mean, it happens.
I don't care about him being an alcoholic at this point. I care about him just being
creepy,
selling his soul to putrescence,
filth, muck, putrescence.
Somehow he has gotten involved with the Lady Skane.
Millie Skine.
Millie.
Or the Lady Cheyenne.
Or she has is it the Lady Cheyenne?
Lady Cheyenne or Millie Skane.
Millie Skane. Okay.
That's
why I was having trouble with those two names, is they're very
similar. You just want to combine the two.
She tried to kill Matt and Rand, so she's a dark friend from way back.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. When was that barn?
And not only that.
Was that the hunting of the old home?
No, it's Eye of the World, yeah.
So I find this very fascinating that they specifically say that she has never missed a mark. Like she can find anybody. She's the ultimate assassin. And yet she bumbles it with two novices. Like two guys that are green behind the ears in the worlds of worldly ways.
But also destined.
Right, but they're also two Taviran in the same room with her.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Apparently, she's very important and very good, and she has this circle that she's in charge of.
And yet she's an insect.
And yet she's one of the several insects that we get in that chapter. So,
insects. Look at me throwing the chapter name in there. Lady Kensington?
Yeah,
baby, yeah.
Lady Kensington.
Well, one of the other insects that we get in that chapter is Old Cully, the gnarled beggar who Matt runs into staring up at.
So do we know that it's exactly who that is, or are we assuming who that is?
I don't think.
We don't get name confirmation, but I'm guessing it is.
There's an inference that
he's the old man hanging out with her at the track.
No, there's an inference that Carradin sees him through the window when he sees Matt, and he knows who he is.
That was one of my main questions this week, is the fact that everybody's kowtowing to old Cully, but then someone else is also above old Cully.
Right. Well,
Well,
it's probably
nobody that we're aware of.
well, it's probably one of the Forsaken.
No, but it's mentioned that even this person could be above old Cully.
Yeah. And it's probably a Forsaken, I would think. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's some other old Cully +1.
We were talking about Carradin following Ishamael's commands. Samael mentions that it seems that someone is making sure that at least some of Ishamael's commands are being carried out. So some of those commands are still being followed like Carradin is doing here. So there's somebody following up on these things. It's clearly one of the Forsaken.
Or maybe Shidar, maybe. I mean,
yes, right. I would lump him in with the Forsaken.
Is he almost like a Forsaken?
Yes, he is. He is a top general of the Dark Ones.
Crazy. I wonder how that all sits with them. Like they've all been jockeying for position, and then this Murdrell comes in. They're like, "What the crap is this?" That wouldn't sit well with me if I was an evil master of the universe.
I would like to know when that has happened before, if it ever has.
Who is the guy outside of Phaleon and Ispan's house at the end of chapter 17?
No idea. I've been thinking this through, trying to figure out who I'm postulating.
Because he is a link between those two and the Lady Skane and
Are you
Carradin.
talking about the guy with the knives? That's just sitting outside?
Yes. The one that's holding his head because his head hurts and doesn't know who he is or something.
The one who has clearly been implanted in the same way that Carradin was with a mission, but isn't aware of its doesn't seem to be aware of its origins. He doesn't know why he's got these headaches. I don't even think he's aware of who he is.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. So Samael in that chapter says, "I'm going to send you someone."
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the someone he said that's the someone he says who I'm going to send, or I don't know who or what that is. Probably more likely what that is. I don't know.
Is that Rand's brother?
Right. Oh my gosh. Would that be crazy? It's Lord Luke come around.
Yeah, one of it's Lord Luke.
Yeah. He travels a lot. Like all of a sudden he's there. I don't have any idea. I don't know who this character is, and I have no idea. That's like to this point, like one of our great mysteries. Who the crap is this? All of a sudden we got some new whatever introduced, and he doesn't even know what he is.
While at the same time getting a lot of history on some of the other characters.
Yeah. But and better yet, why is he outside there? If he is indeed a Samael whatever, why is he outside? Why isn't he inside with all the bad guys?
Right. Well, he's clearly spying or observing them.
So that's an outside influence. So that's probably maybe a plant from another one of the Forsaken.
But he doesn't seem to have any kind of a mission because he just seems to be wandering around here. Maybe he has an insidious purpose in visiting the Lady Shiana and Cheyenne and Carradin, but we could only infer that he doesn't think to himself that he has any evil purpose in mind for them.
Here's a mind bender. Is he a Shan-Chan? Like, they're everywhere. Like, I don't know. I don't know what this person is.
I would guess against the Shan-Chan thing because there would have been some mention of slurred speech or something.
Maybe. Good. Yeah, that's valid. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, he's that, or maybe he's a member of the Dark Tower.
Oh my gosh, that's an even crazier idea.
I don't know. He has a headache.
Right, the channeling has given him a headache. Sure, okay.
He can't just take a couple of Advil.
No, not at all.
I have no idea.
That's nuts. But yeah, I'm really like, and I hope this is not a thing Jordan just drops the ball on. You know.
It's just never mentioned again. I feel like that happened one time. I wish I could remember.
We'll figure out. I'm sure we'll determine who he is in time. But let's move on to Cads Once Upon a Time.
Cats Once Upon a Time. The Cats.
How old do you have to be to retire from Aes Sedai?
Apparently nothing.
No.
Not
you
ever,
must
never.
Be very old.
I mean, she's the oldest ever, apparently.
Retire? Do we know that they retired?
She's retired. She's been in Gildan for...
I think she put
Who knows
herself
how
out to
long?
pasture.
Yeah.
You got to be really old.
I guess that's retiring, though.
She's the oldest. She
Really,
said
really
she's the
old.
oldest.
Right, and I mean, she's seen
she
some
said
of
she's
these.
done a lot of
She's
stuff.
seen some of
She has
these
a-
other
she has
women
a
as
list.
novices, and
She's
they're old.
seen things.
We need to see the receipts,
Right.
lady.
I need proof of purchase.
She said she has dealt with more men that can channel.
That was
a lot of men.
that
do.
was a
anyone?
disturbing conversation there.
Well,
about
remember,
that.
she's a green, so she's going off to fight, and so she's probably been in these groups of
Wait,
reds and
did she
greens
say?
that have gone.
Did she say she's green?
Yes.
Okay.
She does because everyone thought she was, or it was assumed
Well,
she
and
was
that-
red.
That leads me to, can she read minds? Because the only person that thought maybe she was a red was Rand, and then she comes out and says, "You might think I'm a red, but I'm not. I'm a green." I'm paraphrasing there. She doesn't say that.
Maybe she probably just comes across as a red.
And then she starts talking about men hearing voices in their head, which is what Rand has been doing. So can she read minds? Did anybody else have this thought?
I didn't. I just think she's in the know. She's done the research Rand hasn't.
She's the most informed woman ever.
Well, she's been around a long time, so she's had plenty of time to read.
I think from what we're hearing from her, it might just be braggadocious, but what we're hearing from her, she's dealt with all these men. Maybe she knows more than anybody else, because from what we've heard to this point in the last, except for the last 2 years, not a lot of men could channel in terms of the everyday information that was given. So how old is she that there was just a bunch of men that could channel that she was dealing with?
Well, once again, you're saying a bunch. 5 or 6 men.
Well, I guess
is
she said more
right.
than anyone, so I guess that could
Yes.
be 4 people.
I mean, it's
Yeah, okay.
But more than
That's
likely,
true.
these would have been more powerful men who would have drawn a lot more attention. Because I think that there have been men who could channel, and there have probably been rumors of these men, but most of them probably just died in some insane local way that that never drew any greater attention than the immediate vicinity. And
Sure.
and so she's going out and handling the bigger problems. My guess is she's 400 300 to 400 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
in that
I was going to push it up to like
in that
9.
okay, the chances
no
of
reason.
her, the chances of her,
Other than her saying she's dealt with a lot of people that can men.
yeah,
that
the
can
chances
channel.
of her over that time having seen a lot of men who can channel, I would a lot. I mean, a lot is a relative term. My guess is she's seen probably 6 to 10, but she's had intimate experiences with these men as opposed to merely reading about them in books.
Which is really weird because she's saying you might assume I'm a red. That would be something that a red would be doing.
She didn't say you might assume. That was my language.
She did. No, she 100% did.
Well, like I said, she's a green. So they are the
battle
ones.
Aja.
Yeah, they are the ones who can go and fight. You would think that the Reds would need to bring greens along in order to capture a male channeler.
Do
Yeah.
you think the Reds would want
Okay.
anyone else there but the Reds? No. I think they were forced.
That's how
to.
I would feel.
Not that I think that the Reds are the most friendly of groups by any means.
Oh, I mean, Elida's really friendly.
All of the Aes Sedai in the room immediately defer to her.
Well, she's
Which
apparently
would-
very strong.
Right. Which would mean not only is she really old, but she's pretty powerful. But she can't be. But she's not as powerful as Elaine, Egwene, pretty much any of the female channelers that we've gotten introduced to in this book.
How do you know
Newly
that?
introduced to in this book? Because all of them, all those women that I just mentioned, were referred to as some of the most powerful women ever.
Yeah, but they think this woman's dead.
I suppose that's possible. Maybe she's this rogue living agent who's actually more powerful than the incredibly powerful women who keep popping up.
It's possible, pig.
Can anybody else figure out why she has decided to reveal herself at this moment?
No.
No guesses at all.
Where's she been before?
In Gildan.
Yeah, but like, well, maybe just news just reached her in Gildan. Like, she's in such a remote location that all of a sudden the carrier pigeons came in and was like,
I think she's probably been aware. I mean, she speaks as if she's been aware of what Rand has been doing
where is
for a
Rand
while.
located right now?
They are currently in Carradin.
So how close is Gildan to Carradin?
Gildan is far west of Carradin. It's farther west than the two rivers.
Wow, so that's a good location.
Whoa.
Maybe it took her that long to get there. She can't travel.
We don't know that.
Well, I'm fairly certain it was just rediscovered, so I'm fairly certain that's probably true.
I mean, you just made the suggestion that she might be one of the most powerful Aes Sedai ever, so...
Yeah, but they haven't been able to travel since, like, thousands of years.
I think that there's probably more than just the coincidence of chronological timing that she has shown up at this moment.
But I'm spitballing here, so...
I think it's probably tied to the fact that she has heard or somehow gotten word that he is starting to make Aes Sedai swear fealty to him, and she views that as challenging the authority of the Aes Sedai, and she's here to reestablish the status quo, is my guess. That would require her to have access to information pretty quickly, though. I do acknowledge that. Either way, she does seem to be tipping the scale back into the Aes Sedai's favor in one way or to some degree. Anyone concerned that she might be Black Aja or Forsaken?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was wondering if she was Moghedien.
I'm not concerned about that. I'm just concerned about the fact that she's just...
Why wouldn't you be concerned about that? This woman comes in out of nowhere, and she's incredibly powerful, and people thought she was dead.
That's exactly it. I think that's exactly it, because...
Think it's too obvious a ploy?
Right. Like, her bona fides are, for what everyone knows, are so real, and they know what she looks like.
Yeah. But we also know that the Forsaken have the ability to appear as other things.
Do we know the Forsaken have the ability to do that? Who?
Moghedien taught the three girls how to change their appearance and reverse the weaves.
I just don't get that feeling here. I get this is legit, and she's just like a terror. Like, it's her. That's who she is, and look out. Because they all know, apparently this woman, whoever she is, has a known presence.
She's a more impressive Varen.
Right, sure, yeah, okay. Because Varen's a force of nature, and she's Varen apparently times 10. And times 10 age-wise also.
I mean, all we know about her
she's 1,000
to
years
this
old.
point is she's not afraid of anything. She's very powerful, very old, and very knowledgeable.
And annoying.
Well, yes, because she's
to me.
not afraid of... She's not afraid and disrespectful, quite honestly, to Rand, though he seems to think that there's a reason that she's doing that she's trying to get under his skin, maybe to destabilize his emotions so that she can kind of take control of the meeting. It'll be interesting to see how much of this story she starts to take over, because she's clearly a force.
I don't like it.
Adam!
I don't like it!
Adam, who is your Coplin of the week?
Coplin of the week.
Oh, my Coplin of the week was her because of how she talked to Rand, and she said, attaboy.
Little lad. She says something, but like that.
Yeah, she said that's
a good boy. Yeah. Be a good boy.
Also, I don't like the fact that this person's brought out of nowhere and seems super powerful already. I don't feel like I can trust this person.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Dave is saying it's just a force of nature, but that's not necessarily
No, it isn't.
good either,
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's good. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's also odd that nobody ever mentioned this incredibly powerful Aes Sedai, who may or may not have been dead, and was retired
Right,
out there in the in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
So that's sort of weird.
I like the hinterlands. Yeah.
The hinterlands is better than the Netherlands.
Well, but she's not really. It's not. It is the interior, but mine was Millie Skane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She leads Matt on a wild goose chase away from the racing ring. She's really, really snotty with Carradin, isn't she? Yeah, he's a
It's
jerk.
a drunkard.
Yeah. I don't like him.
But
He's not only a drunkard, he's a dark friend.
well, so is
Right.
Millie.
They're both not so great people.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just Dave's saying that his bad thing is he's a drunkard, but it's just the fact that
That's
Yeah.
not the only
just
bad
also-
thing I'm saying he is.
yeah, I know.
Dave, who is your Coplin of the week?
So mine, annoyingly and surprisingly, was Nelician, oddly enough. Because, like, he's like, so Matt's telling him to go, like, get the funds and whatever and go off and do
The
his
gambling winnings.
the gambling winnings. He's like resistant. He's trying to get into merriment, and like it was just annoying. Like I'm just kind of like he wanted
Well,
to be
remember, he doesn't. He Matt is betting the house on wind, and
Right,
he
but at the
is
same time,
distrustful of that.
How often does Matt lose? Very small percentage. Very small.
But he does lose sometimes.
Yeah, but how much is he actually losing?
Well, if you bet the house on one of those times
It
when you
wasn't a
lose,
house though.
it was all their money.
It wasn't his house. He had
a couple of
he also
sacks
had pocket,
of
he had pocket
Yes.
Right.
change and whatnot. Also, something back.
He's
at
got
his
the extra
apartment that
stash. Matt's got the
rents.
extra stash on
it's
the side.
most of their money. It's the money that they would have been using to have paid some
It's
of the
because
soldiers.
he's a noble. It's because he's a noble, and
Yes,
that's what it is.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's
Eric.
it's important money that he's gambling. Matt's just certain. Matt just knows he's going to win.
Nelician's the rich guy who's worried about his riches, and Matt's like, "Don't you worry, I've got you covered. I got this extra stash."
He's more worried about his tryst that is going to occur later on that evening, and the baubles
Exactly.
that he needs.
He's
to-
worried
yeah,
about the
and the fact he
booty, and
needs
he's
money for
not
it.
really truly worried about paying the troops, and that's what it is.
right.
That's true.
Yeah, he wants to
That's
have
true.
he wants to have a couple of extra coins so
Right.
that he can buy
So
something
trinkets.
glittery.
Matt, get the trinkets next time. He says something about that.
Yes.
Yeah, which is also amusing, but yes.
Who leveled up? Adam.
Matt's horse sense.
Oh,
I love
You think
Matt's
it
horse
improved?
sense. I mean, he leveled up. For
okay.
me.
Matt leveled up for you?
He leveled up for me in the fact that he picked out the worst looking. He picked out the worst looking horse. Yeah, and he knew that it was going to win, and then he was also just so distracted by so many other things going on. The puffy white hat that lady was wearing.
No, what was
That
the name of
allowed
the
him to
chapter?
follow her.
What was it? The plumes. Or what was the
Right,
name of the
white
chapter?
plumes.
White plumes.
The
Yeah.
plumes. Yeah, it's the plumes.
The plumes, the
Yeah,
plumes.
but he also just knew. Yeah, I'm gonna win. We're gonna win this race. No problem.
Yeah, he was pretty confident.
Also, I have my boy riding the horse, and I'm
Ulver.
worried about
Ulver,
him,
the
but
ugly
I don't
man.
get
Your
why
boy,
he-
whose
Ugly
name,
child.
whose name you're familiar with.
Right.
Ulver. I don't understand why he's acting this way. He's
He
got all these
who?
other bad influences that aren't
Okay.
me. Ulver.
You, like Matt, can't figure out why Ulver is acting the way he is. You're as lost as Matt is when it
No,
comes
That's
to...
Jordan's
I'm joking
greatness
about
right
the
there.
fact that Matt is like, I don't understand why this is happening. Oh, these other people are the bad influence.
And it's Matt the whole time. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's Jordan to a T.
Matt refers to the other men who are raising Ulver as his uncles. Yes. For me, it was Nesta Dinreus Two Moons.
Oh, deep pick. It's a
The,
deep
The
cut.
the bargaining
nice.
over the Bowl of Winds has begun, and she seems to be a master bargainer. Though I don't agree with the fact that she insists that she has the upper hand because they came to her.
But that's a Seafolk thing, apparently.
Well, the sea folk thing is
Well,
right,
they
is
think
to-
it
is
is
to- is
anyhow.
to try to win the negotiation
At whatever cost necessary. Yeah.
Negotiations.
So right, it's a negotiation, and she certainly in the same way that Codswan does dominates the environment. So she leveled up for me this week. We'll see how that negotiation resulted, though I doubt we'll actually get to see the end of that scene. We'll probably, hear about it in a flashback. But yeah, she leveled up for me.
Eric, is she the one that said that if an Aes Sedai came on ship, they wouldn't ask if you can do it. They're just basically saying you need to do this.
No,
Like
no, she's not the first.
Who was the
She's
one
not
that
the
said
first person that they run into.
that? Okay.
I think that's Breaking Waves, Melon and Toril. Dave, who leveled up for you?
I'm going with an alternate approach with Samael.
Really? Okay.
He got extremely evil in that chapter. He just became like Samael times 10.
But he's about to be totally disobeyed.
I don't care. He just like got creepy factor a million. Like oh my gosh. I don't ever want to I don't want to read that chapter ever again. Like that was so, and I'm not a person who gets
I do
uneasier to settle, but that made me feel that's the word. Like oh my gosh, I hope don't have another chapter like that again. It's like stuck in my brain, and I don't want it to be.
DVC. He's uneasy to settle.
All the above, and he was creepy times a million.
Uneasy.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Jack of the Shadows. Join us for episode 15 when we will chat about A Crown of Swords chapters 19 through 24. Until then, may you rest in the Creator's hand.
May you know good hunting, young bull, and she's to give you none.
Doviandes et Tovias again.
Hip hip, hooray!